Zimbabwe has produced quite a few infamous legendary duos. Chicken in and chips, Sada and high fitteds, Zesa and load shedding, Sewikno and Jabreza. But none, absolutely none, shook the nation and raised the nation's high blood pressure quite like Chidhumo and Masendeke. Now hold up. I know what you're thinking. But before you roll your eyes and say, no, those two again, this is not the story that you knew. Because while everyone knew that they robbed banks and killed people, what everyone omitted to see was how two men with no uniforms, no guns most of the time, were able to outsmart the very system that was designed and built to stop people exactly like them. No weapons, no masks, no fear, just maximum confidence. Those guys didn't just commit crimes, they ran auditions for incompetence. Okay, today we are not glorifying crime. We are just unmasking the mistakes, the myths, the audacity, really, that made a lot of Zimbabweans question, were we really safe or were we just lucky? First myth to kill, they didn't start together. Edgar Masendeke was already dangerous on his own. Violence, robberies, carjackings. He even robbed a woman and killed her for her car. Stephen Chidhumo, Zaka born, Blawayo schooled. But school wasn't his thing. Crime was. Most people drop out of school to become entrepreneurs. He dropped out of school to become a fugitive. That's not peer pressure. That's a resume. Second myth to clear up is that they were geniuses. Clear this up. Now, were they clever? Clear this up. Definitely. But were they geniuses? No. What made those two successful was not intelligence. It was how predictable security systems were. Same guards, same routines, same blind spots. Security thrives on repetition. And criminals, they thrive on noticing it. And these two noticed it. Okay, let's back up a bit so I can fill you in on how the two got to meet at Mutimurefu. So Stephen Chidhumo is believed to have been born of a wealthy businessman from Zaka. However, this businessman denied paternity and he was then raised by his maternal grandfather. And when he was in grade 6, he decided, I'm not for school, dropped out of school at grade 6, and he was then sent to Bulawayo to stay with his aunt. While he was there, they say he then picked up crime and he was hanging with the wrong crowd, and he then began his life of crime. In 1991, he was sentenced to 4 years after a car theft, and he was released in October of 1995. After he was released, he went on like this robbery spree. He was just stealing everything. Honestly, he just went haywire. And he was later rearrested in the same 1995, where he was now remanded at Mutimurefu, where he met Edgar Masendeke. Edgar Masendeke, on the other hand, was also born of a wealthy father, businessman with shops in Gutu and Kwekwe. The father was also believed to have been a polygamist, very abusive, and had more than 20 children. It is believed that because of this, the father was never present in his life, which then made him a bit more of a bully growing up. And he just believed that the best way to channel his emotions was to take whenever he felt like taking, and honestly just be unruly. So they said he had like petty crimes, like, stealing sugar and a coin or a meat, and then it grows to like socks and a t-shirt, and before you know it, it became a habit that was very hard to curb. His biggest, however, crime was in 1995 when he murdered a woman and stole her car. This was when he was detained and remanded to Mutimurefu Remand Prison, where he then met who? Stephen Chidhumo. Masendeke is a bit of a funny character. His story is not, just as straightforward as Chidhumo. He was actually such a violent criminalist. He, at one time, is believed to have gone to his uncle's house, having believed that the uncle had whistle-blown him to the police. He went and he shot the uncle's finger, and he kidnapped the uncle's worker. He later released the uncle's worker, but because he was still angry about that, he went to the uncle's house and robbed the uncle, robbed him of his television and money and, all sorts of things. And they say he actually also went and kidnapped his former principal, who he then forced to drive him to Mozambique, where he was later found out again. We'll get to that. But anyway, this is the background of how the two got to be the infamous duo. Most people believe that these two were criminal masterminds. Truth? They were bold opportunists. They had no Hollywood weapons. They had no Mission Impossible tech. All they had? Timing, confidence, all tied together with human error. People tend to trust people that look like they belong. Okay, now let's talk about the actual weapon in all of this. Their confidence. They didn't rush. They didn't whisper. They acted like, we are rushing and you are in my way. And most of us stepped aside and let them be. Psychologically, hesitation looks suspicious, and confidence is official. And they acted exactly like that. Why scams work. The same reason why fake inspectors thrive. The same reason why every day people are scammed out there. Confidence. And they honestly had all of it. And they understood this well. Most times they didn't really break in. They walked in. This wasn't a narrative about criminals. This was a narrative about unchecked systems and tired personnel. Weapons were not the danger, honestly. Comfort. Now that's where the danger is. Now their downfall was somewhat of an anticlimax, really. It was very textbook. Now, the thing with confidence-based crimes is they always end the same way. Because confidence becomes comfort, and comfort becomes arrogance. And one thing about arrogance is it's very sloppy. They couldn't keep disrespecting reality forever. Patterns were forming, faces were repeating, and before you knew it, people were paying attention. And when people start paying attention, the magic dies. Their downfall wasn't really dramatic. It was very administrative. Chidhumo and Masendeke honestly did not break any systems. They only exposed how long those systems had been broken. And they honestly just got lucky. But I could be wrong, guys. So let's engage. Tell me, do you think they were lucky? Do you think this was all just fate? Do you think it was supposed to happen? Do you think that, personnel and, security and law enforcement could have stopped this sooner? Do you think they had a powerful voodoo man? Or do you just think this was one big mistake, man? Engage with me. Let me know and tell me the next videos that you want me to do. Thank you so much for supporting me, guys. I appreciate you with all my heart and I love you. Good night.